Have you ever wondered why some of the most self-aware, emotionally intelligent people you know seem to struggle the most with modern dating? Why those who've done the deepest work on themselves often find themselves sitting alone on Friday nights while everyone else appears to be coupled up and content? There's something profoundly different happening here, and it's not what you might think. If you're someone who's spent years in therapy, who meditates regularly, who's read every self-help book and attended workshops on emotional healing, you might have noticed something strange. The more conscious you become, the harder it gets to connect romantically with others. It's not that you've become picky or difficult, it's something far more fundamental than that. Let me share Sarah's story. She's a 38-year-old therapist from Portland who spent her 30s doing intensive inner work after a painful divorce. Through years of therapy and spiritual practice, she developed incredible self-awareness and emotional stability. But when she returned to dating, she found herself in a peculiar situation. The butterflies were gone. The obsessive thinking about potential partners had vanished. The dramatic highs and lows that once characterized her romantic life had completely disappeared. At first, she worried something was wrong with her. Had she become cold, unfeeling? But the truth was more complex. She had simply outgrown the version of love that most of society still operates from. Here's what most people don't understand about consciousness and relationships. The majority of what we call romantic love is actually a sophisticated form of mutual neediness, dressed up in beautiful language. Two incomplete people finding each other and making an unconscious agreement. I'll help fill your emptiness if you'll help fill mine. Think about the classic love story narrative we've all been fed. Boy meets girl. There's instant chemistry, often described as feeling like they've found their missing piece. They can't stop thinking about each other. They experience intense highs when together and crushing lows when apart. The relationship thrives on uncertainty, longing, and the constant fear of loss. We call this passion, but what if it's something else entirely? When you become truly conscious, you begin to see through this elaborate performance. You notice how much of traditional romance depends on projection, rather than genuine connection. We meet someone and immediately begin weaving stories about who they are, what they represent, and how they might complete us. We fall in love with our own fantasies, not with the actual person standing before us. This is why conscious people struggle with modern dating. They can no longer participate in this unconscious dance. They've developed what I call emotional X-ray vision. They can see through the surface-level charm and chemistry to the underlying dynamics at play. They notice when someone is seeking validation, when attraction is really about ego, when connection is confused with codependence. Take Marcus, a 45-year-old executive from Chicago. After years of failed relationships and a commitment to personal growth, he developed remarkable emotional intelligence. When he started dating again, he found himself in an almost surreal position. He could predict with startling accuracy how relationships would unfold based on early interactions. He could sense when someone was looking for him to fill a void, rather than genuinely connecting with who he was. The problem wasn't that he had become cynical or closed off. The problem was that he had become whole. And wholeness creates a peculiar challenge in the dating world. When you're no longer seeking someone to complete you, the entire framework of modern romance collapses. Most dating operates on a marketplace mentality. We present our best selves, hoping to attract someone who will meet our needs. We strategize about when to text back, how to appear desirable, what image to project. We're essentially negotiating unconscious contracts. I'll provide security if you provide excitement. I'll offer stability if you bring passion. I'll be your emotional support if you'll be my adventure. But conscious people have moved beyond this transactional approach. They're no longer shopping for someone to fill specific roles in their life story. They're not seeking rescue, completion, or validation through another person. This creates a profound shift in how they approach relationships. The conscious person walks into dating situations with a fundamentally different energy. They're not hungry. They're not desperate to be chosen or to find their match. They're complete within themselves and therefore can engage authentically rather than strategically, but this very completeness makes them almost invisible to people operating from the old paradigm. Here's where it gets really challenging. The dating pool for conscious people becomes incredibly small. Most potential partners are still playing the old game of need-based attraction. They're looking for someone to provide what they lack, to heal their wounds, to make them feel worthy or complete. When they encounter someone who doesn't need anything from them, it often doesn't register as romantic interest. Jessica, a 42-year-old artist from Austin, describes this perfectly. After years of spiritual growth and healing from childhood trauma, she found herself in a strange predicament. Men would often tell her she was amazing, wise, and beautiful, but then pursue relationships with women who were clearly less stable and self-aware. When she asked friends about this pattern, they explained that she had become too put together, too independent, too whole. She wasn't offering the drama and neediness that many people unconsciously seek in romantic partners. This reveals something uncomfortable about human psychology. Many people are addicted to the intensity of need-based love. The anxiety, the uncertainty, the emotional roller coaster creates a biochemical high that feels like passion. Stable, conscious love can feel boring by comparison, even though it's infinitely more nourishing and sustainable. The conscious person faces another challenge. Their standards naturally elevate. They're no longer impressed by superficial qualities or willing to overlook fundamental incompatibilities for the sake of companionship. They can't pretend that chemistry alone is enough to build a relationship. They need genuine compatibility on multiple levels: emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and practical. This isn't about being picky or demanding. It's about recognizing that true intimacy requires two people who are committed to growth, honesty, and authentic connection. The conscious person has tasted what real love feels like, and they're no longer willing to settle for its counterfeits. But here's what makes this situation particularly challenging for people in their 30s, 40s, and beyond. The pool of emotionally available, self-aware partners shrinks dramatically. Many people have settled into patterns, marriages, or ways of being that prioritize comfort over growth. Those who are still single often carry significant baggage or haven't done the inner work necessary for conscious relationship. The conscious person finds themselves in a unique position. They're ready for profound intimacy, but struggling to find partners who can meet them at that depth. They're capable of extraordinary love, but surrounded by people still operating from fear, neediness, and unconscious patterns. This creates what I call the consciousness gap. The more aware you become, the more isolated you can feel in the dating world. You're speaking a different language, operating from different values, seeking connection at a level that many people haven't even acknowledged exists. Yet there's profound beauty in this challenge. The conscious person is holding space for a new kind of love to emerge. They're refusing to participate in the old patterns of codependence, drama, and need-based attraction. They're modeling what it looks like to love from wholeness rather than emptiness. When two conscious people do find each other, something magical happens. Their relationship becomes a sanctuary rather than a battlefield. They don't complete each other because they're already complete. Instead, they enhance each other. They don't heal each other because they've done their own healing work. Instead, they support each other's continued growth. This kind of love is rare, but it's also revolutionary. It shows what's possible when two people come together not from desperation, but from fullness, not from fear, but from freedom. It's love as celebration rather than salvation, partnership rather than possession. If you're someone who's struggling to find love despite being emotionally healthy and self-aware, know that you're not alone. Your difficulty isn't a sign that something's wrong with you. It's a sign that you've outgrown a system that was never designed to support conscious connection. The path forward requires patience and faith. It means trusting that there are others like you who are seeking the same depth of connection. It means refusing to lower your standards or pretend to be less conscious than you are for the sake of fitting in. It means believing that authentic love is worth waiting for, even if it takes longer to find. Your wholeness isn't a barrier to love. It's the foundation upon which real love can be built. Keep being exactly who you are. The right person will recognize and cherish the consciousness you bring to relationship. And when that meeting happens, you'll understand why nothing else worked out before.